Think an oil change is simple? Think again. One small mistake can cause serious damage to your engine faster than you'd expect. Are you making any of these 10 costly oil change mistakes that could ruin your engine? Let's find out. Number 10. Not getting oil changed frequently enough. There tends to be confusion with how often someone actually needs to change their car's oil. The old guideline is pretty firm. This task should be done every 3 months or every 3,000 miles. However, advancements in automotive technology mean most people can go a bit longer. Depending on your kind of vehicle and what kind of oil it takes, you might be able to go between 5,000 and 7,500 miles, or 6 to 12 months before you need to change the oil again. Your car's owner manual will tell you exactly the time frame to keep in mind for this task, and it's vital to follow it. Generally, it's a good idea to change your oil at least twice a year. Even if you don't drive a lot and the car sits in the driveway most of the time, the oil can still degrade depending on the temperature outside. Towing heavy loads with your car can also degrade oil faster, so even if your car normally needs a change at 5,000 miles, it could need it sooner. More modern vehicles even have dashboard alerts that inform you whether it's time for an oil change. It's always a good idea to follow the warning and replace the oil as soon as possible to prevent any issues from building up. You never want to skip an oil change, as it increases the risk of sludge buildup, which ends up adding to the total cost when it's finally addressed. Number 9. Using the wrong kind of oil. Motor oil varies widely. Auto repair workers should know what oil is best, but DIYers must know. Different types include conventional, high mileage, synthetic, and synthetic hybrid. Reusing the wrong motor oil can cause several problems. Your owner's manual will advise you what to use. The improper oil can severely reduce fuel economy. A poorly performing engine will use more gas, putting you at the pump more often. But that's just the start, especially if someone keeps using the wrong oil. The improper oil may lack engine additives, causing excessive wear and engine failure. If you use the wrong oil, some car warranties are worthless. Number 8. Failing to warm up the engine first. Letting a car warm up before driving it in the cold is a myth. Modern cars don't need a few minutes to get things going before heading out on the road. However, one instance where you should let your vehicle warm up initially is right before an oil change. The Seattle Times does a good job of explaining why it's important to let your engine run for a bit before proceeding. The 5-minute rule is a good one. You warm up the oil so it's less viscous and it flows better. That way, less of the old oil remains inside the engine stuck to the walls of the oil pan and other engine parts. Warmer oil flows more easily and is more likely to take away any gunk as it flows out. You can certainly drain your car's oil without warming it up, but you may need to wait a bit longer for it to fully drain, and you may not get everything that could hamper your engine's functionality. Number 7. Putting in too much or too little oil. If the engine has too little oil, your car needs a change. Underfilling the oil increases friction and lubricates engine parts less. This makes acceleration difficult, so your automobile may struggle to climb slopes or reach freeway speeds. You must replenish enough oil or you'll start over. However, overfilling an engine with oil causes the same problems. Too much oil can contact the crankshaft and jam the exhaust pipe. It can also increase pressure, damaging engine gaskets and seals and creating leaks. Number 6. Forgetting to install a new oil filter. Sometimes your car needs more than new oil. Every oil change should include a new oil filter to keep dirt, debris, and sludge out of the engine and ensure clean, efficient oil. A dirty filter makes sludge and other impurities everywhere, so changing the oil may as well not have been done. Engine lubrication will be poor, increasing the danger of overheating. A full-service oil change at a business should include a new filter, but you'll need to buy one yourself. Number 5. Installing the new oil filter incorrectly. Installing a new oil filter incorrectly might have catastrophic implications. Putting it in too tight is a regular problem. Security is important, but overdoing it might strip the threads or break the O-ring. A broken O-ring won't seal the oil properly. This can leak. Lubricating the new O-ring before installing the oil filter reduces the risk of problems. A new oil change usually includes new filters and an O-ring replacement. Wet the O-ring with oil to make it more resistant to filter tightening torque. Make sure you have the proper oil filter for this step. Number 4. Over-tightening the oil drain plug. After draining the old oil from your car, secure the oil drain plug before adding new oil. The plug is usually threaded in, but DIY mechanics may go too far to make sure it's tight. This is counterproductive and could result in a costly repair. Using an air tool to secure the plug may be tempting, but you can usually accomplish it by hand. Stop when it stops tightening. Attempting to tighten it will loosen it. After damaging the threading, you may be unable to drain the oil a few months later owing to cross-threading. You'll need specialist tools to remove the plug. Usually, individuals should just replace the pan. Number 3. Failing to replace the drain plug gasket. The drain plug gasket is essential for preventing engine oil leaks. Again, it's little and easy to miss, but individuals should get a new one with each oil change. It may be possible to replace it every other time, depending on the car. Since they only cost a few bucks, it's probably worth it to get a new one every time. The gasket might distort and degrade, increasing leak risk. Many folks in internet forums say they've driven their automobiles over 100,000 miles without replacing the drain plug gasket for an oil change. Although anecdotal evidence should be taken with a grain of salt, it appears that some vehicles need more regular adjustments. When uncertain, play safe. Number 2. Forgetting to lube the new filter gasket. Lubricating the O-ring before installing a new oil filter was once recommended. Lubing is also recommended when installing a new filter gasket for the same reasons. Oil helps the gasket withstand torque and make it easier to remove for next oil change. It's okay to forget this step when completing a DIY oil change, even though some mistakes can be disastrous. Unless you notice an oil leak, the gasket should be good, so keep it there until you need it again. Number 1. Failing to reinstall the engine oil fill cap. After a successful oil change, it's easy to forget to put the engine oil fill lid back on. Simply screw it back on. If you don't, oil will go everywhere when you start your car, requiring a new oil change. Find a photo of what happens when you don't put the cap back on. It's ugly. Oil will spread throughout the engine and hood. To ensure you have enough oil in your car, you'll have to repeat the process. You never know if dirt or other debris got in with the cap off, so drain what oil is left. Not to mention the heavy-duty cleaning needed to. Leave your ideas in the comments section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more related content.